Good afternoon, everyone. Give it a minute to settle down. I'll leave each of the panelists to give a quick intro of themselves. I'd also request them to actually, share their favorite game, right? So we all can associate with them, the favorite mobile game or the favorite console game that they're playing, right? The people here, this is going to be a really interesting session. We're going to talk about user acquisition, right? A lot of us are in it for growth, right? We want to grow games big, and these guys are the experts. They can help us grow, and so it's going to be fascinating to learn how to grow in the challenging environment that we all find ourselves in. Um, they all represent different parts of the ecosystem, and we all, and I as your representative, represent the part of the ecosystem that pays them all, right? So they're all into making money, and we give them the money, right? But of course, there are partners, and they help us make it big. So with that, Kirti, you want to kick it off and go with a quick intro?
Hi, so I'm Kirti. I actually lead new partnerships at Moloko. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about Moloko. We are very new in India. We're just 10 months old. But globally, we are very big. We are a 10-year-old company. So I have been navigating the ad tech ecosystem from last 6.5 years. Started from branding and moved towards native and then to performance marketing. My favorite mobile game, so I'm not playing any mobile games as of now. I've recently started playing FIFA on PS5 and I'm loving it. That's it.
Thanks, Kirti. Hi everyone, my name is Suchithuria. I lead sales for it just for the India and South Asia region. A bit about me, I have a total almost 17 years of experience into that tech sales space. Was mostly working in various performance and brand companies like Tyro, SVG, HTTP, etc. And then ventured into the SaaS side of it a couple of years back, wherein I'm still there. So it just is a mobile measurement tool, which, like Santosh said, has been used by a lot of app marketeers. And gaming is, of course, a big vertical for us globally as well as in India as a market. So what is a mobile measurement tool? In brief is we actually help you track your mobile user acquisition campaigns once you do. Once you launch an app, you need to, of course, get more users. So we are the first single source of truth for you to tell that from where your actually installs are coming from. We'll talk more about it in detail. That's a brief about me. On the mobile gaming side of it, I am more of an offline game player, like playing cricket and badminton mostly. Don't go by my physique, it's okay. Yeah, but probably I have during Diwali I usually play Teen Patti, so that's what I have started playing again. This is the only time when I play games. I'm sorry, but yeah, I love gamers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Olivier Verdin. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AppTweak. So what is AppTweak? We are an App Store optimization tool. And maybe for some people who doesn't know about App Store optimization, so ASO. So it's everything about organic. So it's really everything to get user in an organic way. We started already 10 years ago. Today we work with really like the largest gaming studios like Zynga, King, but also in India we have Games to Win, Games 24 as a customer. And today I'm really pleased to be here and to share everything that I can about user acquisition because it's not only organic but also paid acquisition. And really all my message today will be to explain to you how you can benefit from doing ASO for paid acquisition and how paid acquisition can actually also help you to do user organic acquisition. Maybe a word about my gaming experience. So my gaming experience, well, I love casual games. I love puzzles, and my favorite puzzle game is Mini Metro, where you have to build and grow a metro around the city. I love it because it's very minimalist design, really great gameplay, and you can play it without Wi-Fi. So this is wonderful. If you fly a lot, like me, you can still play this game.
Okay, so we've got a lot of the industry guys here. We're the guys who they spend on mostly. I'm from Google. Hi, I'm Karan. I lead Google's casual gaming and services business. Prior to this, I was with Meta. Prior to that, I was with InMobi. So I've worked with a lot of the folks here and with some of you in the room. And today we're looking to an interesting conversation on gaming, paid, organic, all of that. In terms of being a gamer, I'm a very ardent gamer. I play hardcore games. So one of the games that I'm playing right now is Ghost of Tsushima on the PS5. I don't know if people play that here, but that's a really amazing game. If I do play on the mobile, it's probably Asphalt 9 right now, which is the best one in my opinion. But with that said, back to Santosh.
Thank you so
Santosh,
much.
you also have to tell us what is your favorite game.
Uh, so, so my favorite, yeah, of course, yes, teleplay games are like awesome. So, but my favorite game of all time has to be like Caesar 3, Diablo 2, probably like very dated, but like if it's favorite, it's probably there. But go-to console game is probably FIFA, something like FIFA as well. Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much. We're going to start off with, there's a lot of gloom around UA, right? Like it's become challenging. There's a lot of stuff that we talk about later as well. But in all of this gloom, actually one company has really grown. Actually, Moloko is, a lot of you might not know, but now I think it's the top 3 fastest growing companies. It's become like a multi-billion-dollar company. I don't know last like what kind of revenue run rates they're doing, but it's actually become a destination for really large publishers. So, I'd like to ask Kirti, what's the secret sauce? What's causing Moloko to grow, firstly? Secondly, we have publishers of all kinds of size over here in the audience. So, at what size should you be considering, using Moloko? Or, is there a size thing? Is there a genre thing? Is there a market thing? So, like 2 questions really. What's your secret sauce, and when should we be talking to you?
So I'll take it one on one. The first part, is there a certain code that you have cracked? So no. Moloko actually, it is pure tech. From the name itself, when you see Moloko, it is machine learning company. While machine learning has actually become a buzzword, like Gen AI, like everybody else, everybody out there is doing machine learning. But we have to understand that not all machine learning is created equal. While there are traditional models, they deploy linear models wherein you require manual inputs to be given to the machine. But Moloko deploys operational machine learning, wherein these models are deployed in real time and they make autonomous decision making with speed, scale, and precision. So that is what we use. And it's not easy to build. Like, we have cracked this code over the last 10 years. Like I said, it's a 10-year-old company. And even now, like 60% of our team globally is machine learning engineers. So we take it very seriously, and that is the actually secret sauce that our systems are deploying operational machine learning. In fact, the time taken by you to command a click to a mouse, in that time, Moloko has made 20 plus predictions. So our prediction making capability is like very fast. We take 14 milliseconds to make a single prediction. Mostly that. Any other questions if you want, I can answer after the panel. The second part of it, like if there are any specific size of games who can look to run ads on Moloko, so there's no specific size. Like whether you are in your 0 to 1 journey, 1 to 10, or like 10 to 100, we can help you out. The only must requirement is that you should have an attribution platform who is providing the right attribution and helping you with that. And I think our friends from Adjust can definitely help you with that wherever you are in the journey. But yeah, there's no specific size of game who can start with Moloko. Like wherever you are in your journey, we can start working together. And how it happens, how all of this happens. So your first party data is integrated in real time. This again happens through an MMP. Now, understanding the behavioral attributes of your current users and other billions of parameters which we use internally, we figure out that which is the right user for you and how to then get you similar users on the open internet. While open internet, so the same tech which Google, Meta, and Amazon are using on their ecosystem, how to leverage that tech on the open internet and give you that kind of scale and performance on the open internet. So, yeah, that was from me.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's fascinating. Basically, that's like democratization of tech. This kind of tech at our kind of early scale developers was like really not available, right? Like, large guys like Zynga, etc., had access to this kind of tech. So I think it's great that, this kind of tech is now available right when you're starting your first game. Like, I would highly recommend everybody to actually really think through their data mobile measurement, and tech stack, because without that, it's very hard to actually build and scale games and even monetize games in today's environment. So, and I think Sutit is even buying Kirti a beer or a coffee later for that plugin on MMPs. But, Suchit, if you can help us understand that, how, like these marketers at every stage, right, can leverage analytics and can when leverage attribution, right, like from platforms like yours to help understand their data and grow, right? If you can help us understand that. And as a second part of that question, what metrics should they be focusing on, especially early on? Let's say you're just launching your game. Like everybody says, hey, D1, like if you go to 5 different panels today, let's say, D1 retention, make sure it's 40%. Somebody else will say, no, ROAS is king, right? So what metrics do you think we should focus on? Thank you.
Sure, thanks. And yes, Kriti, thank you so much. I think partners like you are very important. That's why we call you partners. So yeah, so just want to tell again a little bit about Adjust. So like I said, you need a lot of tech stacks. Precisely, you need three, right? For any app marketeer, you need three marketing tech stacks. First being the attribution platform, which is companies like Adjust. Then you have engagement tools, which are companies like MoEngage, etc. And then there are analytics tools like Amplitude, etc. But you practically need the first one because we act like, if you're driving a ship, there is a lighthouse, right, which is driving you towards the shore, right? And if you don't have the lighthouse, you probably are hitting in the dark, you don't know where to go. That's what an attribution platform does for you, right? We are the single source of truth. Because why I say that is because, let's say, if you're promoting via multiple channels, right? You even start with, let's say, Google, Facebook, Insta. You really don't know from where the attribution is coming from till the time you don't have an MMP. So that's what we help you at the first part, that we tell you that, okay, if you're working with multiple platforms, which is the actually channel which is actually driving the last goal for you, which is, of course, first is, and we cover the entire journey also, right? So you can actually see the journey right from a time a user sees an impression to a click, to an install, to whatever are your KPI journeys, right? So we can track that, and we can track it till 4 level. So one is a channel, then it's a campaign, then it's an ad group, and then it's a creative. So till a creative level also, you actually know which is the right creative, which is actually working well for you. Because creative also play a very, very valid point, right? Because one creative might be working fantastic on Google, but the same might not work, let's say, on Facebook, or let's say a third one works well in a platform like Moloko, for example, right? So when we give you that entire metrics, okay, if I'm running campaign on Moloko, this is the creative, this is the offer, I need to run, probably give a cashback of user to 500 rupees, or, let's say give 1+1, whatever is that offer which is working, similar for Facebook and Google. So that's what we help you. That's in a nutshell how analytics help you. For the second part of question, wherein KPIs, I think KPI also matter and it changes very drastically, right? And it also depends upon what kind of app you are, which stage of the app you are, whether you're on a 0 journey, a 1 journey, or 1 to journey, and it also keep on changing basic market conditions, right? I think 2023 has been one of the toughest times when it comes to gaming, because till now I think what we have seen is only games have been only seeing the revenue jump, but due to market conditions, a lot of changes from the government end, we have seen differences, right? Now, hence I think the KPIs also changed. Of course, LTV, ROAS, day 1, day 7, day 15, day 30, you can track all that and it's important. But if you take my perspective, I think right now with the current time, payback period is also very important, right? I think it's very, very important that how gaming marketeers can actually achieve that payback period, because especially in the startup zone of the environment, cash flow is super important, right? You need to really manage your cash flow. And hence, I think it's important to ensure the minimal payback period, how you can. And just to give 3-4 quick points on that, how you can do it from my end is, one is, of course, choose the partners who can actually give and meet those cohort matrices and the KPIs for you. So work with companies like who have good traffic, like Moloko, etc., right? Give you good traffic wherein you can actually go out and work that. Number one is that. Work also in that, how we can do is, if now we'll come towards that side, not appreciating too much on the partner, is to work on the payment terms and how you can actually go out and squeeze the margins over there, that tell them, okay, this is the price which we want to work at, because every person will have a different KPIs and the margins which they're working. So you can work on that. And monetization. Now, monetization is also key. When you need to get monetization is also important, right? If it's too early, then also it can backfire. If it's too late, it can backfire again. So that's also very, very important. So I think these 3-4 matrices are important to ensure you better your payback period. Like I said, each company will have different, but I think this is a key matrix which app marketeers in current conditions should work on. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Sachin. Actually, fabulous points. I'm just going to quickly summarize a couple of points he touched upon that I thought were very critical. There is no such thing as Facebook works for me or Google works for me or Moloko works for me. He actually boiled it down not only to the channel but the campaign and the creative. And we've seen this. There have been creatives that do fabulous gameplay creatives that have worked very well on networks like Unity, but they've just not worked on Facebook at all, right? So Meta, right? So that's a great point, and marketers need to take that into account. But without a measurement platform, right? How do you even know on what platform a campaign is working? You will be actually flying blind. You will actually assume that your game's not working or your UA department's not working. You won't know it unless you actually measure it at that level. So that's why we say that in today's day and age, to actually do it without this tech stack has become incredibly difficult. So that's a great point, and also a great point on working capital, especially for early stage guys, right? It just goes back to I think traditional business in India, right? Like if you're running a shop, you have to earn the 5,000 rupees you invested in it back fast. So keep an eye out on that. So thanks. I mean that's very useful. 2 tips. Olivier, in your introduction, you touched upon a word which actually everybody in the room has forgotten: organic. What does that mean? And how do you go about doing it? How does your platform help in organics and that journey? Can you help us understand that a bit more? And is it still alive?
Yes, definitely, really alive. No, actually, I'm really pleased of the word of Sushit also about the quality of data, and that's really what we work on with AppTweak for 10 years or so, a bit like Moloko. So we are not just starting in this business. And from the beginning, we just said, okay, we want to bring the most accurate data to our customers so they can actually take insights and take real decisions. Because a lot of people are always saying, okay, we are data-driven, wonderful. But actually, at the end, the quality of your decision will be based on the quality of your data. So that's why we really work hard, and it's not something easy to get accurate data because the stores are changing a lot, Apple is changing a lot, Google is changing a lot, and it's our work to make sure that you will get all the data that you need to take some decisions. So now, to answer to your question directly, organic is not that at all. It's just the opposite. I believe organic is even stronger today than before. And why? Because it's really linked to paid. So let's say that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, doing mobile marketing was, let's say, pretty easy. You put some money, you get paid users, and then you make your business. Today, if you do this, at some point you will reach a point where you will not get any more installs. You will reach like a ceiling. And how can you overcome this ceiling is by working also on ASO. So maybe a word about user acquisition. Maybe it will look very basic, but I want to come back at some basics sometimes. So actually, there are just 2 factors that you can work on when it comes to user acquisition. One is the traffic, second is the conversion. So about the traffic, of course you can buy it. And then there is a question on where do you buy it? And of course, you have to measure to make sure that what you buy is what you get. And we know that for experience that it's not always this. So we need tools like MMPs to help us to make sure that we get exactly for what we paid. Now, when we look at the organic side of it, and we look at the traffic, what we offer at AppTweak, we have a database of 30 million keywords. And we do 30 million search every day on Apple and Google on all countries. So, and we keep all the results. Okay, that's one result that we do. So we do all these searches every day. So we get a lot of information. What can you do with this information? Actually, we know for any game, in any country, in any specific category of gaming, we know the number of installs per keyword. So we know on which keywords you are actually ranking. So we can show you directly, and if you come to our booth, we will give you a straight demo. So you just give the name of your app, one country, we will tell you which keywords you are ranking on, and we will tell you for each keyword how many installs you get. Of course, it will be an estimation, but a pretty nice estimation of the number of installs that you will get from this keyword. what is interesting, of course, for yourself, it's good. But what is really interesting is to look at your competition and to look at the competitors, and then you will see that actually some of your competitors are targeting other keywords than you. And they make a lot of installs on these keywords. So it can inspire you to say, okay, maybe these keywords, I was not thinking it was good, we should go in this direction. Another point on traffic, I really like the introduction of Moloko, because you said you started by machine learning, and actually that's what we did do also. And we started not, with OpenAI and all the buzz around it. We started many years ago, and in our tagline, it's driven by data science. And data science, it's like machine learning, it's artificial intelligence. Why is it so important for us? Because, the semantic in the stores is not the same as the semantic in the language, because we have brands. So what we did, because we have a lot of data, we built artificial intelligence to understand exactly the links between one keyword and an app, between two apps, and between keywords to keywords. So we have a very strong knowledge, and we don't use OpenAI for doing this. Why? Because OpenAI, it's a language semantic, and we developed a store semantic, and it's completely different. Just one example, if you take Lime, Lime, you would say, and you want to get like semantic keywords around Lime, you will say food, fruit, lemon, and all these elements. But Lime is also a brand of scooters in Europe. So actually on the store, Lime, it's linked to transport, scooter, urban transport, not at all to food. So it's really important that we know all this knowledge around the semantic. And Aptrick, we can't really provide all this knowledge. So this is really about traffic. But now there is something even more important, I would say. It's everything about conversion. So about conversion, Apple and Google provides now, Apple provides the CPP and Google the custom store listing, where you can customize the experience of the user. So when you buy, let's say, some keywords on Apple, you want to get a real experience. So you want that the person who click on this ad will come to a page that really looks like what they expect. And then you will increase your conversion rate. Something important about mobile marketing is the fact that everyone is coming back to the page. So optimizing your icon, optimizing your screenshots, doing CPP or CSL, doing in-app events or promotional content will have a huge impact. And it will work for both organic and paid. So it's like, we say ASO, is it finished or not? It's not finished at all. Actually, it's the basic of everything. If you don't optimize this, then you are losing a lot of money on the table. And I can finish by one really strong example that we saw one of our customers did. And you will see that people are much more creative today. They don't just buy installs. They are much more creative. So what this customer did, they started by analyzing the reviews, their own reviews, but also the reviews from their main competitors. And this company is a challenger, so they are not the leader, okay? And what happens when they looked at the reviews, they saw that actually one of their main features is much better than the competitor. What they did, they created specific CPP based on this strong feature, and they brought traffic from the competition to this. And what happens, actually they increased the conversion rate by 56%, and the global budget of paid acquisition, they reduce it by 40%. So today, if you want to compete, you need to be creative, competition is stronger than ever. So now you need to use the tools, you need to use this data to make a difference. And at Aptrick, we are really pleased to work with a lot of customers, and we provide the data so you can make the difference.
Thank you, Olivier. Yeah, that's quite a masterclass in some way, right? And quick summary, I think he's done a little bit of selling for Google as well with the customized landing pages, but all of us are trying to get lower CPIs. Lower CPIs, like you work on CTR, like CPM, there's not much you can do about it, but But CVR is what he's talking about, right? Like, you can improve your conversion. So basically, if you're running an ad which has this woman crying, freezing out in the cold, and you have the pull the pin puzzle ad, you can actually have 2 different landing pages, and they'll have like great conversion instead of one landing page. And these capabilities are there, and the intelligence to make these decisions are there. And this is how you actually move from like an IPM of 2-3 to like an IPM of 8-10, and that changes your entire business model. So this is not optional, right? It actually, it's rubber hits the road stuff. And I'm going to come to your booth and check out what it says for our game. And if we need to change the name of our game, or what do we need to do?
Well, maybe
yeah.
one word about this. Choosing the name of the game. That's something that we do with a lot of customers, because usually you have a theme, you have a gameplay, and then you can choose the name of your game.
Yeah.
And it's very important that from the beginning you try to see that if the keywords are really interesting or not,
Yeah.
and if it's already busy or crowded or not.
Right, yeah. So, makes a lot of sense. Like typically I've just asked my 3-year-old daughter what the name should be, and they put that, and like, looks like that's not the way to go. So, coming to the big guys in the room, Google, you have like solutions across the board, right? You have like measurement tools, user acquisition, monetization. Like how does one bring the whole stack together, right? Right from user acquisition to like admon, right? You have tools across the board, and does like tools like Firebase, etc. have a role to play? Like what's the advice you would give, like on how to look at it end to end, right? Given that you have the whole stack.
So I want to start by saying, one, we're privileged to see the consumer journey from one side where it's discovery to all the way till driving the business, right? So I think it's not about big or small, it's the value we bring to our advertisers and our publishers every day, right? I think we've evolved from a world where ad monetization as well as distribution as well as even UA were completely different place, right? They would sit in separate teams. I remember back in the days when I was in Mobi, we would have a different team that used to look at supply side and a different team on demand side, right? And that is the reality in a lot of gaming companies today also. In order to hedge that, right, we've tried to build products that solve that. Now what products, we're building a product called Ads Revenue Optimization or TROAS for ads. What that allows you to do is it allows you to connect your monetization with your acquisition. And thereby saying you can specify a ROAS that you want to drive, and the system will then optimize for that particular ROAS, making the flywheel stronger and making your games always profitable, right? And the good thing is that it typically, there's this thing that, Google builds for itself. That's not the case. This works with all mediation platforms, whether it's ours, whether it's somebody else's, or whether it's your in-house mediation also. So I think we have that position of privilege, but we also take it with very responsibility to try and build for that customer end-to-end, and ARO is one of those products. The other thing is, when you're doing advertising, right, typically both the teams, which are your monetization support or your UA, tend to work together a lot of times, right? So I think that also helps. But when it's a product, it brings the AI layer, right? Predictive audience. Say these audiences are predicted to see more ads and give you more revenue.
Right.
Or even IAP. You can even build that into the system. So it could be a hybrid monetization, and that can also be built in. So I think what we're trying to do is productize the word so it becomes easier, and bring in a little bit of elements of AI so it becomes easier for a game developer to just concentrate on the development of the game and let the system or the tools handle monetization. I think the Moloko team spoke about machine learning, right? And that's what I think we're trying to do every day with AI, bringing it there so it makes your life easier, and thereby for the customer the journey becomes easier to discover.
Right. Yeah, like a bunch of fabulous points and fairly deep, thanks. I'm going to plug in some marketing for you. Like we've experienced this. He's talking about AI. Like if you're on Google AdWords, it'll actually tell you propensity to become a buyer. Like it tells you that. So you actually can then decide, whether you want to advertise to that person.
Yep.
The other great thing you spoke about is, your ad campaigns don't need you to be on Google ad mediation. Like you don't need to be on mediation on the Google platform. We've seen it ourselves. Yeah. I think one more thing we didn't talk about, and I think it's pretty cool about Google is, for all the events that you're actually optimizing for, whether you're trying to run an event optimized ad or even a value optimized ad, right, like a ROAS campaign, you can actually choose conversion windows. It's not a fixed, like you can only run a D1 or a D7 or a D30. Like a lot of platforms have that restriction.
I do want to give a little bit of reply on Firebase also. I think I missed out on that part of the question, right?
Yeah, sure.
The whole idea with Firebase is it's not supposed to be an attribution SDK. It's an optimization play. It's going to use again our AI to figure out predictions. So let's say you have a game and there are users that are going to churn out at some point. the system will tell you who are predicted to churn so that you can retarget them better. So I think it's all of the stuff that you're saying. I'm not going into detail, but do come to a booth if you have a question. We're happy to help. But the idea of all of these products is to help you scale faster.
Yeah, thanks. And I would highly recommend you guys, visit all the booths, because one of the good things about all the people on the panel are they start working even when you're very small. It's not accessible only to the big guys. So I mean that's the really cool thing about working with all of them, right? Like, and you guys can buy me coffee for that. So all of you are aware of all the changes around privacy that are coming. How many of you know that a lot of what's happening in the mobile landscape is due to like privacy? Show of hands, like, and if you know what all impact privacy has been having or changes around privacy has been having. All right, a few of you. Like Suchit, could I request you to just briefly touch about what's happened with IDFA, what's going to come with the whole Android privacy sandbox, and how can people like you at Just help smooth that impact, right? Like across the board, across iOS and Android.
Sure, Santosh. So people who don't know, iOS, which is Apple, right, launched the ATT, transparency, which is, which what does is that whenever you install an app on iOS, it gives you a pop-up which asks you whether you allow this particular app to access your raw data. And whatever we are talking about, whether it's creative, it's personalization, all it's dependent upon showing a right ad to a right set of user, which you can only do once you have the IDFA ID on the iOS side of it and the GA ID on the Google side of it. So Apple has already launched this, which means that if a user, as you see that you install the app, if you don't allow the user to access your data, then the raw data is not there, which when I say IDFA is the first thing which you capture, right, wherein you can actually go out and show ad to a user, right? I'm sure you must have read these days that, customization, customize ads we need to do, all that practically is gonna go, right? That's what, because, privacy is something which is coming, and now India is also coming up with, Data Protection Act, which has already been passed. So, user level data will be very, very critical. So in Apple, that went away on September 21, it went off. So now if a user has not given permission, we as attribution platform also don't track the raw data, which has all the details like an IDFA, then the user phone, which iPhone he has, what version, and then henceforth, right, whatever ad, if you are capturing anything post-install, which you're also passing it on to an attribution platform, i.e. an SDK, that also is not captured, right? Let's say if you capture a mobile number, an email ID, name, number, all that is gone if a user is not giving permission. Whatever is all aggregated. Now, how as attribution platforms we help you is that, we have to work with something called SCAD, which is the attribution platform of Apple. But yeah, we are connected with them, and, it's already SCAD 5.0, which they're working with. We already launched SCAD 4.0, but you at least get aggregated level data. But yeah, of course, it is impacted. And to give you some numbers, right, before the SCAD, or the iOS ATT was launched, on iOS only, we used to see almost 45% of spend, right, on the iOS side of it globally. That went down to almost 23% in 21, right? So almost like a 50% drop that way. You started that, coming back globally. It has again touched like a 35-40% because brands have understood. So there is a way where you can actually go out, increase the consent, etc., which I just talk about at the second part of this. But yeah, that's dropped down. In India, it is still bad, right? And the focus is because we are, of course, a more Android-driven market. And after this, I think since the answer also says a lot of marketers don't know about it, hence the answer is that we're still at 10, 15, 20%. But I think it's high time wherein app marketers and gamers start looking at the iOS side of it, because that's where the main revenue is also, right? So if you acquire 5 Android customers and the amount of ROAs they give you, probably one gonna give you on the iOS side of it, right? So it's a heavy market in India, slowly and gradually becoming on it. How app marketers help you on the side of it, and what recommendations I'll give that how you can better is, one, to increase the consent ratio. So like I said, you need to give a consent to actually go out and allow. So there are ways wherein we give suggestions that you can increase. You can't do too much around it, but yeah, there are certain things at least on the creative side of it, the look and feel side of it, little bit of text which you can do, which Apple allows, which can help you in increasing the consent ratio, so that it's important to get that growing. If you're at 10%, even if you make it at 20%, that 10% will give you a big jump on the ROI side of it. So that's one point which you should surely look at and how it can increase. Second is conversion values, right? So when the user has not given any permission, right? So like in an Android environment, there is post-install events, right? Let's say registration is an event, level 1, level 2, level 3 in-app purchase. All these are post-install events which you get if a user has given permission. But if a user has not given permission, then it's only we are dependent on conversion values. And so is dependent on partners, right? They also can only see. So just to give a text that right now, if in Android, if a user has given a permission, you know that these many users have done a purchase of 150 rupees, 200 rupees, etc. Conversion values will only give you a range that, okay, users, these 100 users have given a purchase from 0 to 100 rupees. That is conversion value 1, for example, and 2 is 100 to 500 and so on. So you need to map that conversion values very, very properly, and there are ways to do it, which of course, we guide our clients how to do it. There are basically two ways. There's an advanced setup and a normal basic setup. So which of course we can talk later, and we surely guide our clients how to build that conversion value so that you can get more insights. Of course, it will be an aggregated level, but still it's not hitting in the dark. You will still at least know, not till the creative level, but you will still at least know that, okay, which channel is working for you at an aggregated, which campaign is working, and which ad group is working. So you will not get the fourth level, which is of course the creative level data or the personalization, but still there's something, and I think it's very, very high time that brands in India also and marketers start looking at that, how they can actually make the iOS better. And of course, Google privacy is not very far off. It's going to land very soon, right? And of course, we are, as MMPs, work very closely with the Google privacy team as well. So already have solutions. Once we launch, we already have solutions on that side of it, as well as we already have for Apple, right? But yeah, that's like brief on it, that how it is it. Sooner than later, please start working on it is my kind suggestion.
Thanks, Sachit. Also look, with an eye on time, I want to make sure that they have questions. So we're going to ask a couple of quick ones to all three of you. If you can put in a quick word around privacy, right? You've spoken, so if you can put in a quick word around, can you hear me? Yeah. If you can put a quick word around like how you think people should be preparing for, because India is a largely Android market, right? And we know how to build for Android. Put quick word around, what we should be doing to prepare for the privacy changes that are coming.
So I want to give just one quick plug in here that as Android teams, we also don't get access to what they're building, right? We only work on public stuff that's already come in. So I think while as we build in this, what advertisers or developers need to think of is, how do you give trust back to the user? What do you do with their data, right? Give them depersonalization choices is an important one. Second, how do you start adding value to your consumer, right? What I mean is, how do you classify your audience? How do you build a first-party identifier at some point, right? And third is also where you share that data with trusted sources, etc. And the last one is, I think Suchit briefly touched upon it, is the privacy sandbox. It came out in Feb 22. We also are working with it. So I think I would say highly encourage advertisers to read about the privacy sandbox, see what it takes, start testing it. And I'd like to say it again that I think we are all learning as Android does this, and the ads at Google also gets only public access. So Suchit's knowledge of it is as good as ours right now. So that's what I want to call out also.
So last couple of quick questions, and then we'll open it up to the audience, right? So Olivier, coming to you, you've spoken a lot about organic. Like, if you're to if you could just quickly touch upon the balance of organic versus paid, how do you look at it, right? Like, should you go all in on organic, or you're recommending a balance? Like, if you can just quickly touch upon, and then people can catch you offline for more.
Yeah, maybe just a quick word on this. What we really see is that between paid and organic, it's a virtuous circle. So if you do paid acquisition, you will get very interesting information about also which keywords brings you the quality users that you want. So when you do this, then you will know which keywords are really interesting for you. Then you can invest in ASO to get these free installs based on these keywords. And when you work on ASO, actually you will learn about what are the good keywords, so you can really diminish actually the cost of acquisition. And when you look at everything about ASO, it's also about conversion. So it's really everything about the optimization of your store. And we are very happy today that both Apple and Google provide tools like CPP and CSL. It's really important for us today, because it's a bit like in SEO, we need landing page, and CPP and CSL are exactly that. So we can really now work on this And I believe if you don't do this, you miss a huge opportunity.
Thank you so much. And more offline. Last question, Kirti. You spoke about the US side of things. So how relevant is Moloko even on the admon side of things? Do you again support the whole end-to-end? And do you also, related to that question, support ad ROAS and ROAS campaigns and stuff like that? Can you be part of that?
Yeah, of course. So starting from a CPI to a CPA, when you're looking optimizing towards CACs or you're optimizing towards your end goal, which is your revenue. So because the tech is so strong and because we use operational ML, understand you can gauge those that understanding that what's working from you or from very fewer data points. So especially let's say for RMG as a sector, which is 80% of right now Indian gaming industry. If I touch base on poker, very few players play poker. So if you have to identify those high playing poker users on the open internet, it is very difficult. But Moloko does that with ease because it identifies that, okay, what are the attributes of those users who are spending that kind of money on poker, and then looks for similar users, a very small set of users who are actually who can actually convert. So I think Karan also said that they can provide campaigns that can cater to any of your KPIs. That's very similar to what Moloko also does. So wherever you are in the journey, or whether you are running IAP campaigns, whether you are running RMG, or you are monetizing your games through IAA revenue, there are different suggestions for different kinds of campaigns. For example, a lot of times you have seen that if your game is monetized by ads, then a retention or CPI campaigns work far better, because if you get the user to stick onto your game, that user can create a very high longer term value. And if we look towards IAP as a category, then running a ROAS campaign and achieving those break-even periods faster, that work better. So it actually depends what is your monetizing strategy. But we have solutions for whichever game you have. Like we do those propensity analysis and figure out that what is the best way to help you achieve profitability and get you those break-even periods quicker.
Thank you so much. Right. Do we have questions for a couple of audience questions? Okay. If there's one lucky person who wants to ask a question right now, we have time for one question. Anybody? All right, there's one person there. She wants to ask a question.
Hello. Hi, I'm Adrita. One interesting bit that Sujit was talking about when talking about privacy was how to increase consent rate. And I know you mentioned a couple of things, but I would love to hear more about what exactly can publishers do to increase that consent rate.
So yeah, like I said, that one is, of course, there are ways to do it. There are not too many ways actually to do it, because we are also in a doc room. But yeah, you can play around text creatives, and there is a content which goes on the ATT prompt, wherein you can have certain keywords which can be used, which can actually go out, and rather than putting straight away that don't allow kind of thing, it can be rephrased in few ways, right? Which we give you some guidance for. So we give you sample creatives that this is the material, this is the kind of look and feel, and where to put it also, right? That text message can be done like upwards or outwards. So we give you certain options that you can pick and choose from these through for them. And again, we are also learning, right? And this is we're learning from as we compete more and more and more and more consents come from the clients. But yeah, we give you certain snapshots, layouts, which you can work around, and that has been working for a client. So we give those suggestions to the market.
So have you actually seen an uptick since you've implemented these?
Yeah, of course. That's where we have added those, right? So we keep on adding as what's working. So of course, it's still like a couple of years journey only. But yeah, whatever we've added is basis where we've done case studies also with few of them, where we've seen, okay, there's a consent ratio jump from X to Y, and that's where we added them. So we do help in that basis.